positive. Dash positive.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brand new season here in the Esports Masters League. My name is, of course, I've been Mike, going to be taking you through the action, and joined alongside me in the commentary box is the one, is the only, is Mr. SJ, the one. SJ, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, Mike, how you going? Looking forward to a very, very interesting race at the lovely Silverstone in these absolute treacherous conditions, I've got to say.
Yeah, qualifying is currently underway, but we'll be moving into qualifying in just a moment. So let's have a look at the driver lineup for tonight. Obviously, we got 5 teams in total, academy teams in this race. We got IRT Academy, ET8 Academy, NLR Development, GL Academy, and WOR Academy. And as you can see, GL only fielding 2 drivers here tonight, and that's Zako and the Kart. So they're a bit of a disadvantage early on by missing a driver. But IRT, 3 drivers, Seb, Casper, and Cappy. Obviously, I've commentated over a couple of them a fair few times, and I know that they are pretty decent. Daniel, Chris, and Chrischi in the ET8 team, and they are very quick drivers as well, I can assure you that. WOR fielding Fraser, Ralriz, and Jimmy. Haven't really commentated much on them, so I'm not sure what to expect with them, but surely they're going to be on pace and up to par. And of course, NLR Development fielding Rudy, Giovanno, and Miguel. So they are looking pretty good. A pretty good lineup here tonight.
Yeah, looking to really those ETA guys, obviously, I think we know them from obviously the past, that they can be extremely quick. But you mustn't underestimate the rest of the drivers on there. I think it's going to be a very, very entertaining race, and looking forward to seeing what these guys can do out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you can see, they are. So we got Seb and Casper in the Red Bull racing car. We got the ET8 pairing of Daniel and Chris in the Mercedes. The lone McLaren in Rudy for NLR Development. Then we got the 2 Aston Martins of Giovanno and Miguel for NLR Development. No one in the Alpines or the AlphaTauris. But we have 2 drivers in the Scuderia Ferraris, and unfortunately it doesn't look like both of them drivers are in. Apparently Kart having a few issues trying to get into the lobby, so he's not currently in the session thus far. So we are down to 13 drivers in total, but Zico is here in the Scuderias, going to be getting himself underway. Of course, the Williams pairing is going to be an interesting one, because they're part of different teams, so they could end up costing each other quite big in the race. Obviously, ET8 driver Chris Chi in one Williams, and of course Cappy for IRT Academy in the other Williams. That's going to be an interesting dynamic with 2 drivers in different teams in the same car out there on track.
Yeah, that can be a bit of a problem out there, especially when you're going to need them comms, orders, and yeah, especially for pits as well. So that'll be one to watch out for, definitely, to see how those 2 guys are going to go, and hopefully how they're going to go actually on the track as well together. That's going to be a very interesting dilemma coming up shortly.
Yeah, and in the Alfa Romeos, we do have the WOR pairing of Fraser and Raul Riz. And of course, in the lone Haas here tonight, we have WOR Jimmy. Of course, the second Haas will belong to GL Academy driver, but unfortunately weren't able to field the team here tonight. But let's have a look at the point system in the Esports Masters League. Of course, we do see that there is 30 points for the race win, 25 points for second place, 20 for third, 17 for fourth, 15 points for fifth place, 14 for sixth, 13 for seventh, 12 for eighth, going all the way down to 19th place where you score 1 point. But of course, with it being a maximum of 15 drivers as it currently stands, as long as you finish the race, you're guaranteed 5 points. And of course, there is a point for the fastest lap as well.
Yeah, good point system there. Obviously, getting all the guys getting an opportunity, getting points as well, which is gonna obviously I hope open up the whole season in the Esports League anyway. So that's going to be really, really interesting as well. A really, really good point system helps the drivers out quite a lot as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is, of course, the point system. And now we are going to look at the calendar for the season. As you can see tonight, we are going racing at the British Grand Prix. We're here at Silverstone. And of course, Silverstone, a 5.8, almost 5.9 kilometer circuit in length, 3.660 miles in length, 18 corners, 8 to the left and 10 to the right. And of course, the tyre compounds for this race, of course, the C3 soft tyres, C2 mediums and C1 hard tyres. And of course, the intermediates and the wet tyres as well. Of course, looking at the rest of the season, Australia, Japan, Belgium, Qatar, Austria, Zandvoort, the Netherlands, we got Brazil, we got Imola, and we have Las Vegas rounding out the season. So a very interesting calendar to say the least here, SJ.
Yeah, definitely some really, really good tracks there. Obviously today, at the lovely Silverstone, Albert Park in round 2. Then obviously you've got the windy track of Suzuka with the big straight. Belgium, lovely Arouge, as we've seen a lot of incidents happen there in the real F1. Obviously Qatar, the newest track as well. That's going to be a really good one. And obviously finishing up on Las Vegas. What an end to fantastic season.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I think there's no better time. I think we should jump straight into qualifying. We got just over 10 minutes to go in the session. And of course, looking at the hang on, that's a bit of an issue right there. Just give me 2 seconds. For some reason, there we go. For some reason there, it didn't load over to the race. So we're stuck in the menu. But there we go. We are in qualifying, and it is typical British weather here tonight, as it is absolutely pouring it down. We got a time currently on provisional pole of Givano for the NLR development team. He is up there on a 38.8, as we got a lot of times coming in thus far, as Chrissy did pop himself up into P5 there as he came across the line. And of course, around this circuit, very easy to lose the car and very easy to just overstep and invalidate a lap. So we're going to be seeing what these guys are made of, especially in terms of just getting around in these conditions, because it's absolutely going to be hectic.
Yeah, it's absolutely treacherous out there, and you're 100% right, Mike. With the corners and the weather, going to be very, very slippery, as we can see. Rudy is actually on an out lap now, coming around the last couple of corners. I'm happy to take you away on a lap of Silverstone with Rudy. So he's coming up to the first part, dropping down onto the 50, getting onto the curve. Don't want to hit these curves, as it is extremely wet. As you can see there, he's moving quite far to the right to get the line, coming into sector 1 now, trying to get onto the curve. You can see he's have to go so slow. It's one mistake and that car is out. But so far so good. He's getting it round there at the moment, coming up to the first corner, dropping down onto the 50 again. This is a very difficult corner. You really have to hug it as much as you can. Then you have to hug coming into the right hand corner, getting off the apex, coming up to the area where Matt and Lewis come together, actually in the dry, not in the wet. Completely different matter. So how take it here? Is he going to ease off the acceleration? Yes, he does. He has to try and keep it out as far as he can without going. Now he's going to be coming into lovely Mackett's and Beckett's, and here we go. Very nice done there, getting onto the curbs as much as he can, taking it as easy as he can. Now he's coming to the main straight of the Silverstone track, coming into the last couple of corners now into sector 3, which will be the lovely Stowe. Here we go, riding onto the curbs, the last couple of corners now into sector 3, dropping down into the 50. Really good lap. Oh, the back end goes out there, just sad, but he keeps it going, coming round to the fourth corner in these lovely conditions for Rudy, and does a 1:39.569, Mike.
Yeah, Rudy there getting a little bit hectic towards the end of the lap, but Zico is on a lap right now, coming into turn number 1 at Abbey, of course turn number 2 at Farm, as we head into turn number 3 at Village, trying to get a good line here, switching back over to the right hand side of the track for the loop, turn number 4. And then, of course, turn number 5, entry coming on to the Wellington Straight. This will normally be where DRS will be activated on the run down into Brooklands. And we're going to see if the first sector time is up. And in fact, he's 2.5 tenths down. I think right now he's just going around there trying to build some confidence around these conditions. Of course, now through left field. And we head through Woodcut now, the right hand kink, as we head onto the national pit straight. Of course, the old pit straight in the olden days in F1, and there's the national pit straight now as we go through Cops Corner. Very easy to run ride through the race and through qualifying, especially in these conditions. As we enter now Maggot and Beckett, and this is all going to be about the line he can take through Beckett to get a good run out of Chapel onto the Hangar Straight. And of course, this will be another area where DRS will be activated. Will run all the way down into Stowe Corner, and through Stowe will go Zico. Of course, he's using a bit of ERS, but he's not really pushing it massively, and he comes into the pitch just before the Vale chicane and just before Club as well.
Yeah, a pretty good lap there by some of the guys. Obviously, Zico, good lap. Obviously, he's not happy with it, so he's obviously going to go in. Obviously, 5 minutes to go, and quite a good lap there by Rudy. Obviously, both Astons in the top 2 at the moment. And as you can see there, Giovanni with a 1:38.871, so he is the one to watch out for at the moment. You've also got Daniel V28, who's just invalidated, had to come in as well. But those conditions out there making it really, really difficult for the drivers, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. The conditions are treacherous. The conditions are definitely playing a factor here. And Miguel, I just spotted that in the pit lane. He did have a set of intermediates on, so will we be seeing intermediate tyres towards the end of the session? I don't think so, because it's absolutely chucking it down. Still, I don't think we're going to be getting off the full wet compound tyre, but as it currently stands, Giovanni is currently on provisional pole. It's NLR 1-2 currently, ET8 3-4. As I'm currently on board with the IRT driver of Nick, as he's coming through the final sector now, through the Vale chicane, and now through the club section. Around the final corner he'll go, and it's gonna be big snap at the rear, but he'll cross the line, and it was an invalidation in the end. But he was into the 140s, low 140s, but unfortunately that snap just cost him absolutely everything.
Yeah, just jumped on board Fraser, and he invalidated going again. We'll have to wait and see if he's going to be up on his time. P8 at the moment, WOR. Going to be interesting to see how he goes. His teammate is in P6 at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see how if he's going to be able to improve on the lap. This will be the interesting thing now, Mike, if these guys are going to see a big improvement. So as you can see, conditions still coming down, still looking wet out there. Obviously, the water is still on that track as he's now coming into Sector 1. He a 10.5 up on his time already, so that would take him up to P7 currently where it stands at the moment, but he is quite a way away teammate with a 139.826 now coming into sector 2 at the moment, and let's see if he's going to be up again on his time, how he takes the lovely Cops corner. Pretty well so far, still looking pretty good. No invalidation at the moment. It's to invalidate in these conditions, even more easier to invalidate, going very well there, trying to get the exit that he's after. 6.5 attempts up, so this could be a very impressive end to the lap at the moment. A little bit of traffic in front. He's just got past one of the cars behind, coming to the last corner. Stowe coming into sector 3 with 2 corners to go. Is he going to be able to keep the car on the track? Is he going to be able to push up to the top of that P3? Looking a little bit slow coming up, getting a good exit, and he goes P3 with a 139.15. Great improvement, and that pushes him up into the top 3, Mike.
Yeah, and for the first half of that lap, I was on board with Giovanno, who is improving on his lap time. He's marginally up in the middle sector. We're going to see what he can do in the final sector. Big little snap of oversteer coming through the club section, but he does improve, and it is a 138.7 for Giovanno. Looking at the chat for 2 seconds, obviously got Maze in there, very excited about the wet conditions. We got the F1 commentator for this evening. Make sure you guys go ahead and tune in to not only F1, but make sure you tune in to F2 later tonight at 8 PM UK time, because you'll be hearing the fantastic voice of the man in the chat right now, and that's of course Mr. James Head. We got FBR Stefano in the chat as well saying hello. We got Indigo in the chat saying good evening, and good evening to you, Indigo. But yeah, I mean, as it currently stands, we've got just over a minute to go in the session. I believe we've just seen an improved time coming through from Casper and Miguel, which pushes Krisky down the order, and he goes very wide through Abby there, and that is off track in my opinion, but somehow the game has allowed him to get away with it, but he's definitely going to be down on his time. We got Seb for the IRT team coming through Stowe right now. Yellow flags are out as everyone is trying to get out of each other's way so that they do not go ahead and get any block-ins or anything out there. So that's going to be something that these guys need to remember. Of course, Seba unable to find time and improve on his lap time. You've got Zico who's just going to be coming to the line. You've got a Aston Martin and a Mercedes as Giovanno's actually improved once again. He's done it 38.2. As I'm on board with Steve, I think Steve has seen that and he's driven off the track in protest. Steve has driven off the track in protest because of that lap. But yeah, Steve currently down in 11th. Giovanno with a big lap time at the end as we got Chris, who is unfortunately invalidated his lap time, so he'll not be improving. He's currently in P6. We got Casper now for IRT coming through Stowe. We do have a Williams in behind him, and of course a McLaren in behind that. Of course the McLaren is the NLR driver of Miguel. As we're on board with Casper coming through the final corner now. Casper to the line. Is it going to be an improvement? He stays in P8. What about Miguel? Miguel 2/10 down in the middle sector. Big slide coming through the final corner. And yeah, he is around. As we got a WOR driver, I believe potentially. Oh, that is Raul, who goes off track at the end as Rudy crosses the line. 3/10 improvement, puts himself onto the front row with his NLR teammate, and that is exactly what you want to see if you are a NLR fan. Giovanno and Rudy sharing the front row together. Nick improves, goes up into P12 as we got a Haas of Jimmy coming to the line, goes up into P4. So WOR there, currently 3rd, 4th and 5th. As we got a Scuderia of Zico coming to the line. Of course, Daniel will be the next man after that as Zico for GL crosses the line. 8/10 improvement, but he stays in P13. Daniel to the line, and he's lost it through Club. Daniel has lost it there on his final run through Club corner, and my God, it has absolutely fallen apart for Daniel at the end for the ET8 team. James in the chat saying, could say the NLR man is Giovanno. with that lap. I mean, Giovanni there with an absolutely fantastic lap at the end, putting himself 4 tenths clear of his teammate Rudy in second place. But of course, it's one thing to get pole position here in qualifying in these kind of conditions. It's an absolute another thing to try and go ahead and take race victory.
Yeah, 100% right. It's going to be really interesting. Start there by the two Aston Martins in Rudy and Javon. P1 and P2 at the moment. Obviously a really good performance there as well. As you can see, the class. The Mercedes as well, P6 and P7, and obviously the Astons P1 and P2, and then damage right in the middle there with WR Jimmy, and obviously the Alfa Romeo's P3. And performance is going to be very interesting to see how the guys work together front when we get green lights going.
Yeah, and I'll try and run you through the order as quickly as possible. So it's Giovanni who takes pole position ahead of Rudy. It's an LR1-2. Then we got Raul Reyes, Jimmy and Fraser for WOR Academy in 3rd, 4th and 5th. Daniel in 6th. And unfortunately I wasn't able to get through the rest of the grid quick enough. But fortunately, through the magic of cheating, I can actually bring it back up on stream. So yeah, we'll be taking you through the rest of the order right now. So we do have Daniel in P6 with Chris in P7, the ET8 pair in there in 6th and 7th. Then we got Casper for IRT in P8. Miguel, the 3rd NLR driver, currently in P9. And then of course we got Krisky rounding out the top 10. In 11th we have Seb, and in 12th we have Nick, both IRT drivers. A stellar performance from them in qualifying. They're going to be looking for more in the race, and as you can see, it is dry in the race, so different prospect for these guys. And GL Zico, the lone GL driver in P13. But while we wait now, we'll transition back over to the stream team scene a second. We'll talk about what happened in qualifying there, because that qualifying session obviously is not a true indication of pace, but my god, it is interesting to see how the drivers handle full wet conditions.
Yeah, definitely. Skill level there would have been really a big one straight away, especially a track which is very quick, but in those conditions so easy to lose the back end, as we saw a few of the guys losing grip coming out of the last corner in sector 3 there. So even in the dry, it's going to be even more interesting, because it's going to be interesting to see the drivers to find out who has been running, who decided to go for a wet setup or a dry, or if they were just pushing themselves. So in the dry, we're going to see even more quicker times, and I reckon we're going to see different drivers up there through the pack. Yeah,
I mean, not only that, of course, you're going to be seeing a big pace difference between qualifying and, of course, the race, as we do have a formation lamp, so we'll stay on this screen for the time being. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the pace dynamic and that in this, I think qualifying, we haven't seen much of what everyone can do. I think right here in the races where we're going to be able to find out all of the answers to the questions that we have in this race. And looking at the tyre selections, let's have a look here. Ooh, interesting split between some of these drivers out there on track, and honestly, it's going to make for a very interesting race. 3 drivers currently on the soft compound tyres, 1 driver on a set of mediums, everyone else on a set of hard compound tyres. 13 drivers on the grid, and it's going to be very intriguing to see if those guys on the soft tyres are going to be able to get themselves up the order and go ahead and try to pull away. Will the guys on the hards be able to keep up with the soft runners? And what about the medium runner of GL Zico? He's going to be at the back of the grid. He does have the medium tyres. He can go a decent way into this race, but will he go as deep into this race as the hard runners do, and maybe switch onto a set of softs at the end? Time will tell.
Yeah, definitely. Looking at those strategies, some really unusual strategies, like you said, those three guys on the softs, Jimmy Fraser, Kasper Fitch, and then obviously the on the hards, and obviously GL Seco on those mediums. So looking at the strategy, it looks likely that they want to go for the quicker tyre at the end of the race. But if anything happens earlier on, not saying it is going to happen, it could mess up the hard runner strategy there, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we'll transition back over to the end of the formation lap, and there you go. You can see the tyre selections for all of the drivers out there on track. We got WR Musty in the chat saying hello Musty, how are you doing this fine Wednesday evening? But there we go, it is a NLR 1-2, but it is a WR 3-4-5, and this is going to be tasty early on, especially with two of the WR guys on a set of soft tyres.
Yeah, going to be extremely quick off that grid start. It's going to be very interesting to see what these hards are going to do. Yeah, those softs are going to be ones to watch out for. It'll be interesting to see if those NLRs are going to be able to keep it going. But I will leave it over to you, Mike.
5 red lights are on, and they go out now to get us underway for round number 1 of a brand new season here in the Esports Masters League. And we're here for the Academy tier. And of course, Jimmy there on the set of softs, getting the move done early on his teammate, as has Fraser. And a little bit of contact in the back. That's Kasper going into the back of Fraser. Into Village. My God, they're heavy on the brakes and missing his braking point. And that is both Fraser around. And of course, Kasper dropping back a bit. Jimmy has managed to get away with that, as has Raul Riz. And of course, everyone in behind. Lining Stern, that's far a little bit out of shape there for Chris, under pressure now from Miguel, going to try and hang it around the outside of left field to get himself up the order into P6. Young driver using his battery as we run down in towards Cop's Corner, and my God, fantastic stuff down the inside he goes. And he has got that position. Miguel gets through up in the P2. Look at Chrissy under pressure from Nick in behind. The two IRT drivers, they're going to battle. Actually, sorry, not the two IRT drivers. Chrissy for ET8 and Cappy for IRT there. Sorry, my apologies. And this is a very crucial battle because they're both in the same team in this race. But of course, representing different esports teams. Very crucial to get out ahead. But both of them also on the same strategy. Neither of them wants to get held up by the other one, as we got Jimmy, who's now up into P2 on a set of soft tyres, just overtaken Rudy for that position. Giovanni has managed to get himself up ahead and setting the new fastest lap of the race, as you would expect at the end of lap 1. But can Jimmy on those soft tyres really close up? We do have a little bit of a tower glitch at the moment, so it's going to be difficult to keep up with the lap times of everyone here on track. But Jimmy on those soft tyres, is he going to be close enough into Brooklands to make this move? And yes, he is. Down the inside he goes. Job done there for Jimmy, and now he has to bolt away. He's done the hard stuff. He's got himself into the race lead. Now he's got to go. Now he's got to drop these two.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to happen. It's absolutely couple of laps, and obviously now, as you can see, he's nearly 4.5 times. He's going to have to try and push on it quick as he can. The NL guy's going to have to try and stay with him. It's going to be a difficult struggle probably in the next 4 or 5 laps, because those softs are going to be up to temp and they are going to be flying, but the rest of the guys doing pretty well. Yes, it's a bit difficult to try and work out where everyone is at the moment due to the glitch of the timetable, but as you can see, there's a few battles going on at the back at the moment. Everyone's very, very close together. Just got past IRTC up there and into P10. He's now going to try and get to the back of Krishy. So the two soft runners at the back, as you can see, have changed tyres. They've gone onto the softs, Fraser and Kasper Fitch, so they've decided to drop the other hards that they were on. But Zico is now for, but I'll tell you something, he's got IRT Zeb that's got the job done on right there, and you can now see Fraser, he's getting involved, he's coming out on the right hand side. Gets so close there. Get the job done, but he has to put the brakes on, otherwise he's going to go straight into the back there. So as you can see, Mike, those are absolutely rapid, very phases of the race.
Yeah, unfortunately, let's go. Just to, oh my God, what's happened there? Oh, controller's gone on the controller. So give me 2 seconds, guys. I do apologize for this. One thing I was going to say was, of course, that your microphone is starting to cut out a bit.
Oh, is it? Shouldn't be now. Should be good now. That's better. Oh, Fraser. Oh, he's just trying to take the move on IRT. He's got the job done, so he's got in front of the hard runner there. So to have to push on as well. As you can now start to see WR Jimmy got that 1 second gap at the moment on Giovanno. Still his teammates sticking behind him, Rudy, at the moment. And as you can now see, we've got the sector times back together. So you can see now Krishy getting pretty close to his teammate with 3.5 tenths there. But it's going to be interesting to see how quick Fraser can get to the back of Krishy and also Casper on, because they're now 3 laps, and Zico, Giovanno just keeping within that 7.5 10 moment. So Jimmy not pulling away as much as he wants to at the moment, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. Jimmy managed to get himself into the race lead. Not really pulling on as much of the gap as he would have hoped for. He is currently sitting around 8 tenths. If he can find just a little bit more time, he can break that DRS and try and get away. But Giovanno doing a fantastic job. Once again, guys, I would like to apologise for the controller there disconnecting on me. Very unfortunate indeed. But in the battle for the midfield, you got Nick on the back of Chris, and you got Christy on the back of Nick. And of course, this is a crucial one. ET8 versus IRT in the Williams cars. So this is for the right to pit when you want, realistically, because if Christy gets ahead of Nick, Chris can pit at the right time, Nick can get hung out to dry, and vice versa. So these two are definitely going to be battling out for track position, because that does open up possibilities for them when it comes to the pit stop phases. Giovanno now all over the back of Jimmy, coming through sector 1 as we go now to the DRS straight down the Weldon straight. Giovanno tucked in underneath the Haas car, and he's going to make the move. NLR back into the race lead. WR Jimmy back down into P2, and is that a sign that those tyres are gone? And also, another thing I want to point out is the track has gotten very overcast very quickly.
Yeah, definitely. That changes the temperatures pretty quick there. But you can see now at the back of Jimmy now, following him all the way around cops, and obviously not going to make the move. But it's going to be very interesting to see how this is going to work through Mackett's and Beckett's as well. As you can see, just keeping to the back of him. This is going to bring Daniel in if this continues, and now he gets the DRS. Jimmy obviously has got DRS into the front. He'll try and make the move on Giovanno. He'll get closer. Rudy will. You can see Jimmy not getting the job done at the moment, but these guys are very, very close. Zako did get past Casper Fiach earlier on, but this is going to bring Daniel into it if they're not careful. But as you can see, those softs, I think, have definitely lost their way.
Apologies for cutting in there. Fraser and Sieb there. A lovely little battle coming through the final sector. Of course, side by side out of Stowe into the Vale chicane they go. And it is Fraser that comes out on top versus Sieb here. The battle for P10 heating up between these two. And of course, soft tyres beginning to fall away by all counts of it. As look at this now. Rudy drawn alongside Jimmy for P2 in this race. Can he get this job done? Down the inside into Brooklands. Absolutely fantastic. Almost goes into the back of his teammate there. Able to avoid that. And now is an NLR 1-2. So Giovanno and Rudy doing exactly what they need to do to get themselves up the order. Miguel only about a second off the back of Raul Riz. Currently in P6. Looking at the back of P5. And he's just within the DRS range now. As are we going to see both NLR drivers now DRS each other to try and pull away from the rest of the pack. Because realistically, they need to do that.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult because Jimmy can just sit there behind and bring in that DRS, get the slipstream, and obviously Giovanni's got no one in front, so they are going to. Well, they do really, really well, and but as you can see, but further field, Krishy is getting very, very close to coming into Sector 3, not getting the job done at the moment, but I definitely would say those softs are going to be gone. Fraser's nearly 3.9 seconds behind Krishy at the moment, and IRTC is catching him at the rate of not. But as you can see, these two NLR guys extremely close together. They've just got to be so careful they don't go into the back of each other and cause more drama. But as you can see, Jimmy getting really close to the back as you coming out of the exit of turn 1, and Daniel is now going to join this battle and the same with Raul and the same with Miguel, just a little bit. Chris is getting really close to Miguel, trying to get the job coming in here. But
look at Nick!
Nick coming on the outside. Chris, and they're going to stay, but no, they're not there.
As Nick is down the inside into Cop's corner. Apologies once again for it. I went to cut in there. Unfortunately, your microphone was really cutting out again. I'm not sure if you've got to do a bit of a reset on the mic. I'm not sure, but microphones really is dropping the audio on your end. So apologies. I'm going to try and cut in to help out a little bit as Miguel gets overtaken by both Nick and Chris here, and Chris potentially could be having a look as Chris Cheese also got past Miguel. Miguel's gone from P6 down to P9 in a matter of seconds, and my god, this midfield battle is going to continue to heat up as is 2.5 seconds the gap between Nick and Raul Riz for WOR. So we got definitely two different battles going on here as Raul Riz on the back of Daniel. Is he going to have a look down the inside into Village? No, he's not. He's going to sit in behind for the time being. Jimmy's still doing a pretty decent job right now, staying with these guys in DRS, just getting towed along as his tyres begin to fall away from him. Lap 8 of 26. Rudy in the lead, Giovanno second, Jimmy in third, Daniel in fourth with a 3-second time penalty. Raul Riz in fifth, and of course Chris now just making that overtake there on Nick. Up into P6 goes the ETA driver as IRT Nick is going to be settling down for P7, and now he has the ETA driver of Chris Chi in behind him, and we're going to see some ETA teamwork going on here possibly as Chris Chi gets a decent run through Comp's corner and now through Maggots and Beckett's. It's all about the exit here as it is getting a little bit overcast, a little bit murky here in this race, and could we be seeing some wet conditions later on in the session? We don't know, but here comes the Williams of Chrissy, the ET8 driver down the inside of Nick into Stowe. Is this going to be job done as Nick tries to hang it all the way around the outside? Unfortunately wasn't able to do so, but will he send it back down the inside into the Vale chicane? No, he sits in behind Christy there. So Christy now up into P7, Chris in P6. ET8 are moving forward in this race. Nick for IRT just falling back slightly as Miguel appears to be struggling somewhat on these tyres, and of course that does mean that if he does continue to struggle, he'll drop out of DRS range and potentially be under pressure from the likes of Fraser once Fraser makes his pit stop.
Yeah, hopefully I'm back now. Got no problems, but yeah, I don't know what was going on there with my mic. It is a brand new mic, so which is unfortunate. But yeah, no, down into P3 as you're saying. So he's still there though, but Dan going to get even closer to him. And he's doing pretty well, 8 laps on them softs, so he's really pushing them at the moment. But as you can see, further down in P10, WR Fraser cannot seem to get any traction on Miguel at the moment. 3.8, nearly 4 seconds behind. So it'll be interesting to see what he's going to do with strategy there. Daco getting very close to Sieb now, coming in through Cops. He'll definitely get the DRS and definitely even maybe coming through the lovely Beckett's. This is P12 and P11 at the moment, but I reckon I'm going to be interrupted again because P6 and P7.
Yeah, Chrissy getting through on Chris with DRS down in towards Stowe. Job done, and It is a switcheroo there for the ETA drivers, and of course it is beneficial for them just to keep Nick in behind, and of course it is beneficial for Chris to kind of back up Nick a little bit, because if Christie can pull enough of a gap, then the double stack's not really going to affect the ETA driver. But right now, Jimmy under pressure from Daniel. Daniel looking for a move there through entry, and gets the job done. Maybe no, he has to settle in for P4. Daniel unable to get that move done on the Weldon Straight, unable to get past WOR Jimmy for P3 in this race. And of course the top 5 in a bit of a DRS train in a world of their own. Lap 10 of 26, the top 5 literally running on their own, and then of course we've got the second train from P6 down to P9, and of course then we have a fair few gaps there between Fraser, Zico, Sieb and Casper at the back. In the chat we got May saying, come on FBR. FBR are not in this race, mates. They are not in this race. They'll be in the race later on this evening when you guys tune in for the action in F1 and F2. So we'll be seeing how all the teams in this championship season gets going on for the opening round. Giovanni has been comfortably sitting in behind his teammate. He's now back up to 86% on his ERS battery. Jimmy, obviously those tyres are beginning to fall away. So you see the understeer there almost going off track through Abbey there, and that is not what you want to see if you are Jimmy. And he's essentially now getting pushed through corners by Daniel, who's right on the rear wing of him, and is not looking good for Jimmy right now in terms of those tyres. But we do have WR Fraser, the first man into the pit lane. Second man into the pit lane. Casper making a pit stop early on in the race, but Fraser going for a set of the soft tyres, and that could be an indication of rain.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one. I wouldn't be going for softs at the moment. See, lap 11, they go another 10, that would be 21. He's still got 4 or 5 laps to go. So that, yeah, like you said, it could be that rain at the moment, but like you're saying, Daniel keep pushing Jimmy around the track at the moment, which is unfortunate. He does have that penalty as well, so that is going to be a big hindrance to him, but he's also got to be careful because Raul Reyes is just behind him at the moment. As you can see now again, swapped, and Giovanna is in the place at the moment, and Krishy gets the move done on ET8 Chris there, so he literally at one place of Nick NW at the moment, and it's starting to heat up now. Is Daniel going to be able to get the job done on Jimmy? He's doing it softs at the moment, sticking in that P3 position, but he has got Daniel on his tail, and I don't think he's going to let off. If he takes one mistake, going to grab it by the nails.
Yeah, Jimmy right now really struggling on those soft compound tyres. The most crucial thing for Jimmy is to stay within DRS on Rudy up ahead. But the thing is, both LNR drivers have the ERS that they can just pull away. They could use a bit and get away from Jimmy here, but they're electing not to as they currently stand. So maybe they're going to push a little bit later in this race. Daniel needs to get through on Jimmy as soon as possible. You see a little dab of ERS coming out of left field and through Woodcut there as we go through Cops. Look at the grip difference here between Daniel and Jimmy, as Daniel really closing up on the entry in towards Maggots and Beckett's now. Let's have a look and see what the run is like out of Chapel. Oh, this is the job done by her, surely, as Daniel is right underneath that rear wing of Jimmy. Jimmy's flashing red at the back, indicating he has less than 10% ERS. Daniel around the outside of Stowe. Is he going to be able to pull this off, as Daniel is just about going to be able to get himself ahead of Jimmy, and that is exactly what needed to happen here, as it looks like the NLR drivers getting a little bit tangled up with each other, as Daniel closing up to the back of Rudy here, and Raul Riz is now the next man to try and get the overtake done on Jimmy here for P4.
Yeah, and this is so close, anything can happen. Really try. He's actually going to go around the outside. He's going to try and push it with the... They're going wheel to wheel.
Daniel.
Oh, no, he's going to get the deal.
Daniel's not wasting any time. He's trying to get this move done on Rudy. He's going to look down the inside into Brooklands. Is he going to be able to pull this off? The ET8 driver versus the NLR driver through left field now. It's all about the exit. Can Daniel get a good exit here to maybe have a run into Cop's corner? No, he does not. And Raul Riz successfully does get through on Jimmy and up into P4. So Raul does get through. And look at this. The top three line astern. I believe there's less than 4 attempts separating all three of them.
Yeah, and you can see here Daniel is actually he seems to have more grip on the car coming out of some of those corners, especially out of Maggots and Beckett's. Now coming down the main straight. Problem is he doesn't have the DRS. He does have the DRS, but he doesn't have the DRS on the other end because Rudy is just getting the DRS from his teammates. So they're working out really well together. Now it's going to be see if Ruiz is going to be able to come in. And also you've got to think about the pit stop here. Silverstone is such a long pit stop. So it's going to be really interesting to see what these guys are going to do at the front as they are on the same lap of tyres. But I can see Daniel just keeps pushing and pushing. 81% ERS. So he has the chance to just burn a little bit and try and pull away again, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, both NLR drivers have done fantastically well in terms of saving their ERS, so they have this opportunity to just be able to pull away if need be. Daniel right now appears to have a good grip on those hard tyres. We've just seen Jimmy come into the pits, and it's another set of soft tyres, so definitely, in my opinion, an indication of rain at some point in this race. And Zico is on a set of fresh hard tyres, so if the rain doesn't come hard enough, he can get to the end of the race, not an issue. So Zico thinking long term, and Jimmy, Fraser and Casper are definitely looking like they are thinking that the rain's going to come early enough that they can go into a set of inters with time to spare. Course lap 14 of 26. We are in the second half of this race right now. Giovanni leads the way ahead of Rudy in second place. Daniel for ET8 currently in P3. Raul Reyes for WR currently in P4. Did a little dummy into the pit lane there from Raul Reyes. Then of course we've got the two ETA drivers of Chris Chi and Chris in 5th and 6th. IRT Academy driver Nick in 7th. The third NLR man in Miguel in 8th. Sieb for IRT in 9th. And then of course we've got WR Jimmy and WR Fraser in 10th and 11th. Casper for IRT in 12th, and of course GL's only representative here tonight is Zico, currently down in 13th place.
Yeah, and on that note, Reyes is now getting even closer to Daniel. This is the question, as if you look at the two front runners in Giovanni, and got massive amounts of ERS compared to Daniel and Ruiz, so they've really been the two Aston Martin drivers, two LNR drivers have done absolutely phenomenal with ERS, and there we're gonna see a switch at the moment. It's gonna be really difficult to do because you've got Daniel just behind. Ro is just there as well. I'll let you go. You go.
Yeah, my God, absolutely fantastic stuff as Chris sending it on the inside into Cobb's corner, getting the job done on Chris. Nick up in the P6, and it's very, very close now between these guys. Nick using the DRS to get through on Chris Chi as well. So the IRT man up into P5. Nick gets through ahead of Chris Chi, and of course gets through ahead of ETA Chris as well. Fantastic stuff between the pair of them.
So a little bit of drama going in the midfield, but we're going back to this lovely battle between the four guys and Ruiz, Daniel, Giovanni. Not changed much. I think the only thing that's changed is I think they might have switched again. Daniel's still trying to get a bit closer, gaining a little bit more of ERS now, 3%, and it's getting pretty dark. And I don't know if we're going to see that rain, but I don't know if I'm seeing it.
It is raining. It's raining. The rain has come.
I'm seeing a few spots. I'm seeing some spots. This is going to be massive. What do the NLR guys do? If they double stack, they could lose it. One is going to have to continue. This is going to be the big question here. What do they do, Mike?
Absolutely. I mean, NLR right now, I mean, the 1-2 from Rudy and Giovanni has definitely played out well in terms of the course of this race so far, but as you mentioned, the rain is beginning to fall now. It's going to continue to get wetter and wetter out there on track, and there's going to be one lap in particular where's the optimum lap to come in and put on a set of intermediates, and unfortunately, as Giovanni is the man currently in P2, he's the man who's going to have to suffer it.
Yeah, it looks like he could be. Let's have a look. Yep, it is. Is Daniel going to go in? No, he does though. So Daniel has decided to keep with Rudy, which is not a bad situation. But he's really going to have to put the pedal to the metal because Rudy does have, well, he's actually got less ERA. He did have a lot more, but he's now dropped down to the 40. But a very unusual there by Daniel. He might have decided to pit because we know that Silverstone is such a long pit straight. It takes pits, but the weather is coming down now. And as you can see, Nick and Chrissy are still going at it, and you've got Chris just behind as well. It's still not Inters though yet. It's still, and someone's gone on the as well. They're going to be pretty quick, but Nick and Chris are going to. Oh, they nearly got back of each other. It's extremely close.
Well, I tell you what, right now, I can say right now that the Inters are not the best tyre to be on, because you can see Giovanni is losing a bit of time to Jimmy as Chrissy gets a fantastic run, and he's going to hold off because he does not want to lose out on potentially getting DRS here down the hanger straight through Maggots, Beckett's, and now through Chapel comes the ETA driver, and he's going to close up with DRS. And is he going to be able to make this move stick? And he's going to go around the outside of Stowe. Is this going to work out well for Christy, or is it going to work out well for Nick? Into the pits, will any of them go? No, they're both going to stay out again as the two race leaders are into the pits as well. Daniel and Rudy into the pits. Nick holding off Christy. Christy getting the better racing line coming out of there, so I had a bit more traction, but unfortunately wasn't able to take the race lead. And still, as it currently stands, Jimmy is still pulling away from Giovanni, and Rudy is pulling a set of soft tyres.
Yeah, that's a very unusual. Two Williams drivers aren't even teams, and they are both two at the front with 17 battling each other, which is fantastic to see. Even though they're not teammates, they're really giving it a go.
I mean,
he is gonna get. Oh, he's made a
mistake. Christian gets through.
Oh, has he let him go?
No.
It seemed
That's a mistake there from Nick, and he has lost out on DRS on Christy as well. Lap 18 or 26. Question in the chat from Resify from NLR. Is it just me, or does his mic keep cutting out? It's not you, unfortunately. For some reason, SJ's mic is cutting out every now and then, so we can only apologise for that. I am trying to come in and help out as much as possible in making sure that we get all the action called on track. The intermediates now, I think, are just about coming into their window. It is still very close. I think the salts are just a little bit better, because you can see Rudy still pulling away from Giovanni. So now Chrissy is in, which is going to hang out Nick to dry. Nick gets a 5-second speeding penalty. The IRT man is absolutely fuming with himself, and he's got a puncher. He's got a puncher on our front left tyre.
Just in the drama, sorry. Again, I was trying to do a pod. But yeah, no, that's massive. And obviously the softs and coming down, the DRS is still enabled. So this is massive. But you can see Giovanni, he's up the ranks, up into P4, and this is gonna. I've just seen there. He's. Is he gonna get the job done? Are these in? Going to be the tyre. Oh, Daniel looks like he was struggling there. Exit into sector 1. Giovanni now catching. Now, as you can see, Jimmy in the lead. Rudy. Are the softs the tyre? Is this rain going to hold up? Are the Inters going to come through? That's going to be the question, Mike.
Well, that is definitely the question on everyone's mind. When will the Inter tyres come into their window? The rain is still coming down. It is light rain at the moment. This track taking a while to dampen up here, and Daniel's managed to get through. Managed to get through ahead of Giovanni. I am not sure what exactly has gone on there. I'm actually pulling up. What? Unfortunately, I'm not sure what's going on there with the audio on SJ's side, because I could hear myself twice coming through. But yeah, it is unfortunate. We will try and get that sorted ASAP, as Raul is on the back of Fraser now, and this is going to be an indication of the softs versus the intermediates. Oh, big moment there for Raul as he gets a little bit out of shape. I know the echo was mad there. The reservoir is. I can still hear the echo because I'm still in the Discord, but unfortunately it is a bit mad for me, as James had saying triple mics. What's wrong with triple mics? Defo Soft Weather says Resify. I mean, it is definitely still dry tyres are the better tyres to be on. Hopefully the audio is okay. HJ, is everything good now?
It is a brand new mic, but another question is these penalties are going to be massive. Jimmy with the 3, Daniel with the 3 as well, could really stop them from getting a podium. This is going to be the question, because he doesn't have a penalty at the moment, so he's in the chance to win the race. But as you can see, Fraser getting past Giovanni. This is the question. This is the way. And he's literally zoomed past Giovanni there. And we've got 6 laps to go, and this rain is coming down. But is it staying on the track? That's going to be the question. I just don't know what to look at. Is it softs? Is it inters? Are we going to see DRS are disabled? What's going to happen?
It is definitely still soft tyres right now, as Reservoir says, probably a wire issue or not plugged in enough. So maybe that could be an issue for you to look at, as we got Rudy now on the back of Jimmy. DRS is still activated in this race, so now Rudy will be taking the race lead on track. If he can get this move done into Brooklyn's down the inside, he'll go side by side. That's a big slide there from Rudy on the inside, and he loses out on potentially making that overtake stick, as you got Fraser looking to get the move done on Daniel up into P3. It is not intermediate tyres, it is definitely the dry tyres, and right now Fraser getting through on Daniel, and this is an indication that it's still dry. That's 10 lap old softs getting through on 3 lap old intermediate tyres. Rudy really trying to get himself into the race lead, as it looks like now we're starting to see the rain begin to settle on track. We're seeing droplets on track now, which is an indication that it is beginning to settle, so we should be seeing the intermediates start to take over from this point on, as Rudy gets back into the race lead. So Rudy on lap 21 retakes the race lead. Daniel is still a little bit far off the back of Fraser, but intermediates, Jimmy's into the pits, and look at that through Stowe, and here comes Fraser into the pits as well. So there we go, Daniel has been let loose in this race. And here is the question now. Does Daniel have the pace to not only pull a 3-second gap on Giovanni, but also does he have the pace to catch up Rudy? Rudy has a fantastic lead of 11 seconds. Lap 22 of 26. Can Rudy hold on, and will he need to come into the pits?
Yeah, we're now starting to see a lot on the intermediates now. Obviously, Rudy on the softs, Stick on the softs, and Rose the softs as well. So the inters, are they going to be the time? Like you're saying, he's got 11 seconds to catch him at the moment with actually full up, but as you can see, still struggling even to get grip on his at the moment. And there's a lovely, and Jimmy at the 4.5 tenths behind. As you can see, Zika in the pouring conditions at the moment. Doesn't seem to set, which is helping the soft runners. I'm actually looking at that time at the moment, dropping, but it's not dropping massive amounts at the moment, is it, Mike?
No, unfortunately, the way it's looking right now is still borderline soft tyres, as Daniel is losing time to Rudy, as Nick going to go for a move on Giovanno up into P3 for IRT Academy ahead of the NLR driver, and this could be an absolute masterclass from Nick and Rudy here in terms of going onto a set of soft tyres and sticking it out. Giovanno going onto a set of Inters. We're waiting for the Inters to come into play here, but as it currently stands, they are not in play thus far. It is getting wetter out on track, so you would think that it would be moving over to the intermediate tyres right now, but the gap is continuing to increase between Rudy and Daniel. And of course, if Rudy does need to make a pit stop, he is going to lose out not only on the race win, he's going to lose out on a podium, and he'll probably come out around where Zico is right now.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm just looking at the gap. I would say it is extremely wet down into sector 2 there, coming at that corner there, as you can see on board Giovanno, and then coming into Cop's corner. You've got to take it really, really carefully, because it looks like it's starting to get quite wet as well. Maybe 24-25 it's going to be quite wet. It's going to be really difficult, but at the moment this is advantage route 12 seconds in front. Daniel just to catch him at the moment. The battle is between Nick and Daniel, and Nick looks like he's going to get the job, and the thing is his DRS is still into, and I still got to be shot soon, but the weather gods out there still saying it's dry enough for DRS to be enabled still, Mike.
Yeah, DRS is still enabled, and of course that does leave these guys out here on a set of soft tyres. Obviously, sort of chat saying that Jimmy shouldn't have pitted at the end. Unfortunately, he did have to pit because he done back-to-back soft tyres, so he had to use 2 different sets of tyre compounds. Now I think we are in intermediate conditions now, because you can see how much Nick is struggling with traction here. The DRS is still activated, so here comes Daniel back through. The gap between Daniel and Giovanno, though, is almost 3 seconds. It is now 3 seconds as Daniel down the inside of Brooklyn. He'll be around the outside for left field, as Daniel's going to try and hold it around. Nick does hold the inside line, and the traction on the exit is going to allow Daniel to draw alongside the IRT man and potentially look for a move into Cops, and no, he's going to settle in behind as Chrissy has managed to get through on Giovanno. Giovanno really struggling here for some reason. Possible damage, perhaps?
Yeah, it could be, but I've just got to say a big congratulations to Nick. How does he have the grip to keep a guy on Inters behind? That was come out of the Cops. You think that he would lose it, but now Daniel's coming back at him again, and it just seems the grip. I don't get it. Is there an error? Is there? Because it's still 12.2 seconds with 1 or 2 more laps to go, and Daniel he has a back there, Nick.
Giovanno's a goal puncher. Giovanno had a puncher. He's coming to the pits with a puncher. So these intermediate tyres are getting a little bit risky now, as we see what's called a puncher for Giovanno. So that shows kind of why he fell off the pace in terms of the times and everything. Are we going to see more intermediate tyres begin to get punchers? Because remember, they went for a nice early pit stop when the wet weather was beginning to fall. It hadn't settled on track. It was the wrong call to go onto a set of Inters at that moment in time, but as the race has grown on, these guys have been overheating their intermediates because it's not quite been intermediate conditions thus far. Nick currently is on a set of soft tyres, but look at this track. This track is wet. How are these guys still going around here on a set of soft tyres is beyond me. And now we are going to see Nick now through Maggots, Beckett and Chapel, and he's still got more grip than what Daniel has. DRS is disabled. Yeah, now it's Indus. Now it's Indus.
It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. But now look, you've just seen it, and it's disabled at the right. He does get the job done. But one lap of race lap here, and it's still madness. How getting the grip, but now are we going to see Rudy time start to literally go down the pecking order, as there is a yellow to 1 and 3, which looks like something's happened in sector 3, but this will be the question.
Gasper getting out of the way.
Let's go.
But yeah, the lap time is coming down between Daniel and Rudy, but is not coming down quick enough. Raul Riz into the pits.
Sorry, I just had to interrupt there. Nick has lost. He was all. He is all over the place. As you can see, he's got 7.5 attempts. Keeping with him, but he nearly put it into the wall there, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely, and Nick there just getting a little bit out of shape. Daniel is still closing in, but he's not closing in quick enough. Rudy, as long as he doesn't make any mistakes here, at the end of this lap, he will be on course for a race win. He's got to keep it nice and calm. Make sure he doesn't lose the back end. 10 seconds is the gap. Rudy down the hanger straight for the final time in this race. And that race is absolutely thrown by Raul Riz, of course, coming into the pits and retiring from the session. So unfortunate for him. Personally, if I was Raul Riz, I would have just tried to get to the end. And honestly, his points all the way down to last. So definitely worth getting to the end. And some big points thrown away there from Raul Riz. As Jimmy gets through on Christie for P4. Of course, it's not going to make much difference as... yeah, unfortunately, Jimmy has a time penalty. Rudy does cross the line, takes the race win. Nick has lost it for the final corners. Nick is around facing the wrong way. Jimmy's through. Christie's through. Christie's going to get himself a podium here, and he moves up into P3. Chris in P4. ET8, 2, 3, 4 in this race. Jimmy comes home in P5. Nick in P6. Fraser will cross the line, just missing out on P6. He comes home in P7 though. As we got Zico crossing the line, out of fuel, comes across in P8, but will he lose that to Giovanno? Yes, he will. Giovanno comes home in P8. Miguel in P10. Will he potentially jump up the order anyway? I'm not entirely sure. I wouldn't think so. As we cross the line now, and big snapper oversteer, and a puncher there for Sieb as he's crossing the line, and he picks up the final position here in P11 and actually stops on the line. My God, what a end to that race that we have just seen. Nick leaving the session, obviously not too happy with what went on in that race. It just went into at the wrong time for him. He had the opportunity for P2, and of course in the chat as well we got Siban saying that he also had a puncher at the end. So absolute heartbreak for Nick and IRT Academy right there. But it is that man, NLR Rudy, on the top step of the podium for NLR Development. Fantastic result for him. Gets the first race win of the season. But of course, it is going to be slightly overshadowed by the performance from ET8 Academy with a fantastic double podium in second and third, and of course their third driver coming home in P4. So they will definitely be the guys taking the championship lead. But let's run you through the order one more time. It is of course Rudy who takes victory ahead of Daniel in P2, Chrissy in P3 with Chris in P4, WOR Jimmy in P5 with IRT Nick in P6, WOR Fraser in P7 with NLR Giovanno in P8, GL Zico, the only GL man here tonight, he comes on in P9 with Miguel for NLR, rounding out the top 10. Then of course we have Sieb in 11 for IRT and Casper in 12 for IRT, but picking up the fastest lap point as well. And of course our only non-finisher here was Raul Riz, came into the pits and retired from the session. Personally, I don't like to see it, especially when there's points all the way down to last place, and you never know if those points will come back to bite. WOR later in the season. But of course, that does bring us to the end of the race, and honestly, a fantastic season opener as well. Silverstone did not disappoint. And yeah, just quick reminder of the point system. We'll get that up on screen for you right now. And there we go. So of course it's 30 points for first place, 25 for second, 20 for third, 17 for fourth, and then 15, 14, 13, 12, all the way down to 19th place, where you get 1 point, and of course 1 point for the fastest lap. 12 finishers means that we have guaranteed 8 points as long as you cross the line. And also I believe we saw the IRT man pick himself up a fastest lap as well. So 9 points for both IRT guys in 11th and 12th. So good performance from them. But yeah, that does bring an end to the race. And my God, what a race that we did have.
Yeah, phenomenal race. Absolutely.
The
treacherous.
Yeah, unfortunately, you might cut out again as well. So if you started talking,
oh God, it's so. But I'll try again. Really, well, that was one to watch as well. They were obviously pouring down conditions. Obviously, we got, which was the dry conditions, and then obviously at the end there. But the talking point is going to be is softs can dry on a wet race, apparently, because that was some fantastic driving by Nick, and then obviously lost it at the end, and very fortunate. I think it's Gavion or right at the end, obviously getting that punch, and it looked dominating all the way through the whole race with there, Rudy. But yeah, that will be a question mark there for him, because he was doing so well earlier on in the race, the battle that they had. But a really good drive by most of the guys there, and obviously Daniel for sticking by Nick and actually getting a P2 in the end. So phenomenal by him. But yeah, no, Silverstone did definitely not disappoint. Plenty of action, and obviously, like Mike said, yeah, try not retire, keep going. Obviously, you never know when you've got an opportunity to get back those points, and like you said, you never know when you have an opportunity that they might bite you back on their backside later on.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, when there's points all the way down to P19, and you have an opportunity for points, don't throw them away. Just take the points, and actually never know what can happen later on in the season. Of course, that's going to bring an end to round number 1 here at Silverstone for the Esports Masters League Academy tier. And before we wrap things up, I am going to press you for a driver of the day.
Well, hopefully my mic doesn't cut out at this point. I'm really Sports Masters League. It's probably
it's cut out.
It's brand new. It's brand new. Driver of the day. I'm going to give it to Daniel. I think he had an absolute. And to get on the podium as well, that P2, that was a really good performance. So I'll give it to Daniel.
I mean, Daniel had a great race, but for me, in terms of who I would give driver of the day, there's one man who didn't make a mistake whatsoever, and that man is the NLR development driver of NLR, Rudy, who absolutely perfected that race and obviously got to the line, took the race win as well. But before we go ahead and wrap things up, we will have a little look at the calendar. So next week we will be back as we travel down under to Australia, as we go to the Melbourne circuit for the Australian Grand Prix. So that is to come next week, and of course then the following week we will be at Suzuka for the Japanese Grand Prix. That is not all for racing here on League Racing TV here tonight, because we've got more Esports Masters League action later on tonight. In about 25 minutes you'll see the guys in Formula 1 and Formula 2 taking it to the track around Silverstone. Of course, Formula 1 being commentated over by James Head and IRT Indico, Formula 2 being commentated over by Leslie the Twig and Freefall. Make sure you guys tune in to the races later tonight. Go show some love and support in both of those streams. And of course, that is going to be it for us tonight. And we'll catch you next week. Hopefully, SJ's mic we'll be working tidy next week, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, until then, guys, hopefully you all have a fantastic evening, and we'll catch you next week for the Australian Grand Prix. Until then, guys, goodbye.